News, by the way. Joining us right now on the phone is our good friend Mark Houck from the Kingsmen, thekingsmen.org. Good morning to you, Mark Houck.
Good morning, Joe. How are you?
Praise be to God, I am alive, and that counts. And you're not in Philly. Did you leave town because you were afraid of Philadelphians destroying the place, or, I mean, how does it feel to know that Philadelphia lost to the Kansas City Chiefs? I mean, are you sore about that? I'm just curious. What are your emotions right now, Mark?
Yeah, well, it's a good game. The best team didn't win, but what can you do? Sometimes the best team doesn't always win.
Is that how that works? Is this the best team doesn't win?
That's right.
Okay.
Not always. Not always.
Did you watch the Super Bowl? I didn't watch the Super Bowl. I haven't watched the Super Bowl in a long time. Did you watch?
Yeah. No, it was a great game. I mean, it came right down to the very last second. So it was a great game.
Yeah, praise be. And a Catholic husband and father, pro-life warrior like yourself, kicked the field goal that won the game for the Kansas City Chiefs. As some would say, the less of the two greater teams who won the game, apparently.
It's good.
Continue to point that out, but that's a great story, though. It's a heartfelt story. That guy who was surrounded by crazy people, apparently, is ardently pro-life, ardently Catholic. Good example as a husband and father. Something that your apostolate, the Kingsmen, is out there proclaiming day in and day out for year after year. So, what a great example we have in him.
Yeah. Amen. No, it's a great job by him, and there's some good people in all walks of life, right? In all areas of athletics. You got some really good Catholics, and it's great to see him be so successful. So that's great.
Yeah, praise be to God. Well, let's talk about the State of the Union. That was must have been a big time in your life. It was kind of a surprise to learn that you were invited to come hang out to be there with Congress, with the President of the United States, the very guy whose DOJ tried to put you in prison for 11 years. You must have had some sort of mixed feelings over all of that. Take us through it. What was it like?
Sure. Well, I should tell you that, after the arrest, I actually had a vision that I was going to be at the State of the Union. Now, I didn't think it was going to be this administration. Yeah, truth be told, I did. But I didn't think it would be this administration, to be all honest with your audience today. But Congressman Scott Perry from Pennsylvania, neighboring congressman to where I'm in, my district, called me up and said, "Would you like to go?" And of course I said yes. And I said, "Could I bring my wife?" And he said, "Well, we'll work that out." And we were there. So we met a lot of people on the Hill, and a lot of congressmen and women were apologetic. They said how sorry they were, and that was very healing to my wife and I to hear that. Congressman Perry was a phenomenal guy, former brigadier general, phenomenal man who was himself had the FBI raid his home in down South Jersey, take his cell phone from him. So he really sympathized with our situation, empathized, I should say, with our situation.
So what is it like? They must bring you by car to the building, because I imagine there was fences up, right? So clearly there was a mob outside banging on the fence, trying to burn the place down again. So what was that like? I mean, because why else would you put fences up, right, Mark? I mean,
it was interesting. There's a lot of tradition, obviously, with the State of the Union, obviously in our republic here, but. It was a beautiful evening. We had a dinner with met Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House. Had a dinner with him.
Really?
It was just like an open buffet kind of thing where he invites Republican congressmen and women to come to, and so we shared in that. We met Ben Carson. A lot of great people that you kind of know only in name, and there they are right in front of you. So, like I said, there was high security, always is. They locked down the D.C., the Capitol, right around that area about 4:00, but everything doesn't begin till 9, so you kind of got to get in the building and be in there till the Union address.
Really? And was this your first time inside the U.S. Capitol, or had you been there before?
No, I went to school in Washington, D.C., so I was used to the kind of the setup and had been in the rotunda before. I had never been in the gallery before where, the House floor is. I never saw that or been in there, so that was a first for me.
And so you're sitting there, and there's a lot of hustle and bustle prior to Biden entering the chamber. People
Sure.
are shaking hands and clamoring. And I was watching some of the footage just last night. In fact, some of the body language footage, and just watching McCarthy up there with Kamala Harris, and what are they thinking? What are they saying? What's going on in their mind? I found it very fascinating. Were you taking it all in, or were you locked in conversation with those people next to you? And who was standing next to you while you were there?
Yeah, so each congressman and woman or senator gets one ticket, a plus one, if you will. And so everyone that's there is an invitee from someone in Congress. So next to me was a Republican invitee from the Colorado Congresswoman, who was the Second Amendment champion. I forget her name, but very, very tiny. But I met her, very nice person. And then next to me was a Democrat invitee from someone from Houston, actually, from where you live. Really? Yeah, so we it was kind of meet people across the aisle, and everyone's kind of enamored by the experience, and no one's really well, at least the people next to me were very agitated with the fact that they were sitting next to a Republican or something like that. Most people didn't know me, except those that were in the know. So I watched as my wife was across the gallery. And she was sitting next to Joe Biden and Bono from U2. So she had the better seats, I guess.
Did you get any do you have any pictures of that? That's fantastic. You got to get that framed.
You can't take cell phones in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask. All right, so you're sitting there. Biden enters the room. Everybody, there's a loud cheer, a lot of clapping. Was it obvious when you're in the room that it's like, was it the whole chamber that clapped and was happy that he was there? Was it just the Republicans being quiet and the Democrats making the noise? Like, what was that like? Was it a mixed bag? I'm just curious.
Well, like I said, there's a lot of tradition with it, and the gavels, hits the desk, and then the House congressmen and women go retrieve the president. So does the senators, and they're announced by both Kevin McCarthy and Kamala Harris to go get this. So you see the beauty of that. That's probably been going on for 200 years in our republic. But what was interesting for me is everyone clapped for the president, and I did too. Not because I'm approving of his policies, but I respect his office, right? So I didn't clap for him most of the night, but when he came in, of course, I acknowledged who he was, and I thought that was the right thing to do. I didn't clap very long, though.
Yeah, you're a good man. But of course, that's, obviously we should respect the office. There's 100%. It would be chaos if we didn't have respect for the office of the President of the United States. So was there anything in there? Was there anything surprising to you about the entire experience? Anything that caught you off guard, that you weren't expecting, that you were surprised by?
It was very hard to hear Joe Biden speak. I mean, he mumbles a lot, and what was interesting is, he doesn't wait for the applause to stop. He just kind of picks up, and so it was very difficult to pick up on some of his content. That said, what was interesting back during the Obama administration, there's something that's become quite normalized on the House floor when there's a State of the Union, which is when the president says something that the sides of the aisle, Republican in this case, doesn't agree with, they'll call it out and they'll yell it out. And what's interesting, I kind of asked someone who had been there before, and I said, "This is really seems like it's become normalized." And he said, "Well, yeah, because the president doesn't usually lie, and so when the president lies or says something that isn't true, the House has to, call it out. So, or else the newspapers will report it, and they don't always report it accurately, but they'll report it that's a truth, a thing that he said. So unfortunately, you can't really trust what's coming out of our president's mouth as to be factual. And so you saw a lot of banter, which to me, I was very surprised to see. And to the point where it was disruptive. Good.
Yeah, we talked about that on the after show on Friday. One of our faithful listeners, Alberto from the UK, where I was asking him how he saw it, because in the UK, the Parliament in UK can be rowdy, right? Even the Canadian Parliament can be rowdy, and I'm sure all parliaments around the world that are on that system are of similar nature, where politicians are used to debating, arguing, and some get into fistfights, for crying out loud.
Sure.
But in the United States, that's not something we're used to. So when Marjorie Taylor Greene stands up with her, fur coat on or whatever it was, and yells out, "You're a liar," it stands out. It seems to really, really stand out. So to your point, do you feel like... I feel like our politicians should be statesmen, right? Statesmen and women. They should have a certain decor, a certain level of respect, even for those that disagree with them. They should have comportment. What say you, Mark Houck?
Yeah, I agree with you, Joe McClain. I felt the same way, but other people pointed out to me that it's important to make that awareness. He said something like 1 billion Americans were killed from COVID, and Congressman Perry said to me, "Well, China won, killed us all." So, it's not always accurate.
Not always suboptimal. Some would say suboptimal. 1 billion. That's kind of a big number. Hey, don't go anywhere. Mark Houck, founder of the Kingsmen Apostle at thekingsmen.org, is our guest. We're it's getting the bird's eye view of what it's like to be at the State of the Union in such an environment, in such a time as this, to be in the same room with the guy who wanted to put you in prison for 11 years. The guy who says he's Catholic, that guy. That is a pretty remarkable experience, to say the least. And Mark Houck is our guest. So don't go anywhere. We're going to continue the conversation coming up right after this break. Do me a favor, though. Check out A Catholic Take podcast. Wherever you listen to podcasts, subscribe, like, and share. I'd be very grateful. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
As a nonprofit lay organization financially independent from your diocese, our apostolate is listener-supported. Through your generosity, we are able to inspire countless listeners with the gospel message and help lead them to a parish to be spiritually nourished by the sacraments. The Station of the Cross thanks our supporters who have enabled us to broadcast Catholic programs for more than 20 years. Thank you for your continued support, and may God bless you and your family.
Do you love listening to the Station of the Cross on your car radio, but sometimes find yourself driving outside the listening area? Never miss another minute of your favorite show. Download the iCatholic Radio app so you can listen anywhere in the world 24 hours a day. The iCatholic Radio app is available for your phone in the Apple Store or for your Android phone in Google Play. Visit thestationofthecross.com for more information.
Here at the Station of the Cross, we proudly bring the truths of the Catholic faith to countless listeners through radio and mobile devices, and we're grateful for the feedback we've received.
I'm a widower, parent of 3 almost adults, and listen to you guys around the clock. Father McTigg, Society of Jesus, he's wonderful. Mother Miriam, of course, the Divine Office, and many other great things that Station of the Cross does. So thanks very much for your great work.
I had a friend at work email me and tell me about the Station of the Cross a couple months after it started, and I was so excited. I tuned into it, and I found that I love the Catholic station.
If you've been blessed by listening to the Station of the Cross, let us know. Call 1-877-888-6279, extension 112, then share your testimonial with us.
Praise be to Jesus Christ. Welcome back to A Catholic Take, a bold synthesis of information and inspiration. I'm your host, Joe McClain. Coming up when we say goodbye here in just about 10 minutes or so from now, we're going to stay on the live video feeds for the after show, where we're going to comment and interact directly with you. If you would like to join us in the after show, just jump on one of those live feeds. You can find them linked up on our podcast page on stationofthecross.com. But also, just go to YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, LinkedIn. I think we're on, a bunch of places. Just look for A Catholic Take, The Station of the Cross, or Joe McClain. You'll stumble across it, I promise. Mark Houck is our guest. TheKingsmen.org is his website. And he got up early today. He's over on the West Coast. Praise be to God. A busy speaking schedule right this year, Mark.
Yeah, it's getting to be a bit crazy. I'm kind of like your schedule now, Joe. I'm all over the place.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Now
You've been talking to my wife again. She's been telling stories. Praise be to God. Well, we're glad you're getting busy. We're glad you're getting out there. That's a good thing. This is definitely an upside to having your house raided by the FBI at 7 o'clock in the morning. Scaring your children is hopefully you get an opportunity to have some greater good in the lives of men everywhere. And I kind of want to circle back there about the lives of men and how important it is, how much of an effect that they can have on society. I mean, I want to compare and contrast the Chiefs kicker and President Joe Biden. Both are Catholic. Both have, somewhat of a stage. Biden obviously is a bigger stage, being purportedly the most powerful man in the world. One is pro-life, and the other is anti-life. The other one seems to have an agenda that goes contrary to Catholic morals, ethics, belief. And the other one is leveraging his opportunity to spread an incredibly powerful message, a witness of true masculine spirituality. Maybe you can comment on that.
Experiencing that myself. I mean, here God gave me and my wife and now my children, to a degree, a platform to talk about what happened. I couldn't talk really for 4 months about the case. So, I want to talk about it, and certainly that's fine. But it's a great opportunity to proclaim Jesus and, talk about the love of Christ and forgiveness and really the grace and mercy that was extended to me through this whole journey. So, I appreciate that platform. And every time we can celebrate the gift of God in our lives and who he is and proclaim him, I think our Father in heaven is very pleased with that. So, and I'm sure the kicker feels the same way for the Chiefs.
Especially since, he won the Super Bowl and Philadelphia.
That's right.
Is it still standing? Have they burned Philadelphia down? Yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, how does it work in Philadelphia? They started destroying the town before the game even started, so I don't even want to see what it looks like now. But anyway.
Yeah, we love our teams, don't we?
I don't even know who the Kansas City Chiefs are, to be honest with you. But whatever, they won. It's all good. Let's talk about again this example. I think it's important because you met some powerful people when you were at the State of the Union, and I'd love to get your take. I'm not asking you to reveal any secrets of anybody, but I mean, again, we don't always get the chance to speak to the Speaker of the House, for instance. So that's kind of a big deal to have a word with the Speaker of the House. What was that like in particular? And maybe you could share, if you're up for it, what words did you exchange with him? What was his personality like? That's also somebody who is in a unique position to have a deep impact on many millions of lives. That seemed to be a really incredible opportunity for you.
Right. So we did have that opportunity, and my wife wore this really beautiful and obnoxious pro-life dress, which had all these red roses on it. So, and I loved it for her. I loved her for it. And when we came in and met the speaker, he wanted to stand right next to her because she's a beautiful woman, and I don't blame him. But he did say, the congressman did tell him who I was, and he said, now we have an oversight committee to look into the abuse of the FBI and overreach of the government, and that's what the speaker and I talked about. And I said, yes, I'll be testifying before Congress. I'll be doing a call with the Judiciary Committee at the end of this month. So anyhow, he was pleased to hear that. And then, of course, they moved us along after that. But that was my exchange with him, and it was good to hear him say that.
Wow. There's so much politicking that goes on, and we read the headline news. A lot of times we only get like the WWF, the wrestlers version of their lives and their character. So having had that brief moment inside, talking to these individuals, was there anything surprising? Was there anything that you're like, oh wow, I would have guessed that would have been different? I would have guessed they would have been different. Anything like that along those lines?
Yeah, Congressman Perry pointed out that many people in the House support us, that being my wife and my family and what we stand for and the life issues. And Rick Santorum's told me as much the same a couple of weeks ago. But he said, there's a lot of pro-life people, on the House, but they're just afraid. They're not courageous to speak out on it. So wow. It's a shame. It's a shame. But when I talk to them personally, like Chip Roy from Texas, these people they have a lot of courage. But there's those that don't really speak out, and it's unfortunate that they feel compelled for their constituents not to say something. I guess I don't know, or they'll lose votes. I'm not sure the reason, but I was overwhelmed by the amount that were supportive, and again, prayerfully saying, "God bless you" to me and my wife, and so that was comforting. Again, like I said, they apologized, so that was very important for us.
Praise be to God. What about the president doubling down on his anti-life stance there during his speech, basically threatening Congress that if they should try to pass a nationwide abortion ban, that he would veto it? And what did you think of that?
Well, of course, I did hear that, and that came through loud and clear. And obviously, I did not approve, and nor did anybody else that would be on the pro-life Republican side of things. Very disappointing to hear. On one side of his mouth, he was talking about Tyree Nichols and his parents who were there, and how that we have to do all this, make these changes to protect life, yet he's ignoring life in the womb. So he's really just not consistent, obviously, with his message. It was very sad. I was very saddened to hear that, but I'm hopeful that that won't be the case.
I saw that you took the family back to the clinic where all of this started and prayed in front of that clinic. That was a great witness. It made the headlines. Praise be to God. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a homecoming of sorts. I really felt that because I spent so much of my life there, 8 to 10 hours a week. So going back, having been essentially told not to go there for 4+ months, I loved going back. I took the whole family, my wife and children. We had a bit of a rally of 50 people or so on a Wednesday afternoon, praying and singing. And so it was a beautiful day. The sun was shining. Of course, we had women seeking abortions, and we were there to help it as well. But it was great to return, and I'll be there. I'll be there again real soon.
Was your family at all, your kids especially, were they nervous about going there, about what possibly could happen?
No, I don't think they were. At least they didn't show it. I think they were. My son was excited. He always goes with me. And the other ones, they did not express any fear in any way, which I was great to hear. I think whenever we're together, they get excited. So, it was a beautiful day for them, and they were celebrated. So that was good.
Praise God. We are getting down to the wire here with Mark Houck, founder of The King's Men. TheKingsmen.org is his website, but he's got some great retreats for men, formation, leader, protector, provider retreats. It's my favorite retreat. I've been on a bunch of retreats in my life, my Catholic life, but I got to tell you, it's the Into the Wild one that I love the most. Samson is also a fantastic retreat, and you can check out the details about the retreat offerings that Mark has in his organization at thekingsmen.org. That website is thekingsmen.org. Mark Houck, God bless you and God love you, my friend. I appreciate you getting up early today for us.
Anytime for you, Joe. Thanks so much. It's great to be with you. God bless.
God bless you. God love you. Have a great day, and we'll catch up with you soon. Again, thekingsmen.org is the website, thekingsmen.org. Arizona, I see. Arizona's on the board. I guess no hard feelings about losing that Super Bowl. Wow. Anyway, you check it out, thekingsmen.org. Hey, we're going to go into the after show right now. We'd love to hang out with you and chat directly with you about your thoughts, your feelings about the stories or anything else. Just find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, anywhere. We're live streaming. Until tomorrow, God love you.